starts momentarily. But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans. But the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this. When the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings. It doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why smart Americans, just like you, are stocking up now with My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithjustin.com right now to get a 3-month emergency food kit, and they'll even throw in a free 4-week food kit to boot. That's 4 whole months of meals ready to eat. No refrigeration needed, all with a 25-year shelf life. We're talking breakfast, lunches, dinners, over 2,000 calories a day to keep you strong when everything else shuts down. So don't wait until the crisis is here. Order today, and it ships fast and discreet. Go to preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com, because when the lights go out, the last thing you should be worrying about is feeding your family. Preparewithjustin.com. It's here, the grand reopening of the merch store, justinbarclay.com/store. We've got brand new tees, hoodies, and gear in fresh designs, colors, and sizes, even some for the kids. You're going to find favorites like the FAFO, Fool Around, Find Out shirt, the Gulf of America tees, sweats, and more. And alligator Alcatraz designs are ready to wear and ready to make a statement. And even cups. We've got mugs. We've got bags. We've got hats. All kinds of great stuff inside the store. Perfect for the rally, the weekend, or just everyday life. Shop now at justinbarclay.com. Shop now at justinbarclay.com/store. That's justinbarclay.com/store. Do it today. Yep, another large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving My Pillow with a ton of extra pillows. But you know what? Mike and the team have decided to make that lemons your lemonade. It's their loss, your gain. My Pillow offering the
Downtown Grand Rapids. We're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on Wood Radio.
Welcome in, folks. Lots going on. We try to distill it each and every day for you to make sure that you understand. We cut through the noise to make sure you get what matters most. And one of those stories is kind of terrifying today, actually, because it's a step in an interesting direction. Well, this whole AI thing it always is, right? When we talk about this new technology, that this brave new world we're headed into, it can help do a lot of good things, but there's a lot of evil that can be done with it, too. And today in Tech Tuesday, we're going to break it all down for you, because the AI is talking to each other.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big
Yeah, the
Three.
stories that matter most. You're going to be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Maybe your AI will be talking about it with other AI. You know, they created like a Facebook. At least that's the story. We're going to try and break it down for you with our good friend Trent Kennedy and Tech Talk Tuesday. That's coming up about 9:35. But first, our big three in Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team helping make this possible each and every day, and we thank them for their partnership. They power it. And by the way, without them, this wouldn't be possible, and without you supporting these great folks who support the show. I mean, it's all this synergy that really makes things work. So thank you. By the way, you could save thousands when you do support the program and you support Dave. It really is incredible. Right now, we got the interest rates dropping. You may be looking at buying a home. You may be looking at refinancing, home equity line of credit. We've done all three of those with Heartland Home Mortgage, and we save thousands each time we did. So many other people listening to this program have as well. So reach out today and find out Dave and the team can help you at hhmlending.com.
Number one.
Body cameras for ICE agents. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announcing Monday that the Trump administration is deploying body cameras for every federal agent in Minneapolis after two protesters killed during clashes with the agents. Well, I wouldn't call them protesters. Let me call them what they were. I think domestic terrorists, insurrectionists. Anytime you obstruct law enforcement and have the plan in the coordinated effort to do so, you're working against those efforts, particularly efforts that the American people voted for. That's really what we need to call you who you are. It happened in Minneapolis, and now they want accountability. And I think this is going to be very bad for the protesters, those folks that are actively involved in that obstruction, because now everybody's going to be able to see who they are and what they do.
Number two.
And gathering evidence. Well. It looks like Trump was right again. I'll talk about this a little bit more in depth here in just a moment, but he's got another deal. You know, we were told that the tariffs would mean the sky is falling for the United States. It'd be the worst thing that we could do. And Trump was just going to completely crash the economy with it. You would got to be feeling it. I don't know about you, but I haven't felt any of this tariff nonsense. All I've seen is gas prices go down. Everything else has gone maybe down a bit or stayed hovering around where it was under Joe Biden. But we are seeing companies decide to shift their manufacturing. We've seen that right here in Michigan with the big three bringing work back to the state. And that's a big story, one that I don't think is getting the coverage it deserves. But India doing a deal with the United States, lowering tariffs immediately. Trump says, we got a deal. We're going to get it done. By the way, that's all that they were doing. Trying to use these tariffs to get better deals for the American people. That is America first. And also, inside that deal, another promise secured from India. Prime Minister Modi says they will stop buying Russian oil and instead will start to buy much more from the United States, potentially Venezuela. That big announcement made on Truth Social just yesterday. Well, there's some question about this, whether or not they could be held in contempt of Congress. Bill and Hillary Clinton first they just wouldn't budge, they wouldn't come, and now we're hearing stories that, at least from their attorney, that they have agreed to testify. The New York Times has it this way: Bill and Hillary, according to their attorney, agreeing to testify in that Epstein House inquiry. They've long resisted it. Now they may actually face the music. At least I was reminded by somebody in a comment on social media earlier today. That's at least, unless Hillary pulls her strategic patented move, which is the old I don't recall, which I don't recall. Maybe that was Benghazi. It was a Benghazi here, and I don't recall. Well, what difference does it make anyway, at this point? Anyway, lots to discuss today. We've got the latest and, of course, the greatest of stories that you won't want to miss, the stories you won't hear anywhere else. Big news out of that Goshen battle. Mecosta County, Green Charter Township. We've got an update for you on that, too. And it involves a hero of well, an unexpected nature. Let me just put it that way. Somebody I didn't quite expect to jump in the fight, and yet she has. We'll get into this coming up, at least on our side. She could jump in the fight normally any other day on the other side, but not this time. We'll talk about why Attorney General Dana Nessel is on the side of those folks in Mecosta County and the good people. How'd that happen?
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
It is really incredible. This story continues to develop. Attorney General Dana Nessel demanding the CCP-linked Goshen Company hand it over that $23.6 million, over $23.5 million that they got from Michigan taxpayers.
China.
Yeah, they gave all that money to buy the land there in Green Charter Township, Mecosta County. After the deal's been done, well, as in busted, she's ordering that company to pay the money back. They got 90 days. Now, again, as I mentioned, this is not the story I would have imagined or expected coming out of the Attorney General's office. Not this Attorney General, but maybe on her way out, she feels like, there's a couple of things I can do to clean things up. Here's how the Midwesterner writes it. Goshen is gone and Michigan wants its money back. The Michigan Attorney General's office last week sent a formal demand letter to the company with close ties to the Chinese Communist Party, starting the clock on Goshen to repay more than $23 million in tax money that was spent to purchase property for a planned EV battery component plant near Big Rapids. Assistant Attorney General James Zemer wrote in the letter he's working on behalf of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. It's the MEDC, those folks we've been telling you about, is kind of part of the way that they move money around here in the state. Supposedly, they're meant to help, boost business and things of that nature. But what we find out is there's a lot of deals that are done behind closed doors with cigar-filled rooms, smoke-filled rooms, and they get all this stuff done, and then you end up finding about it after it comes out on the news. And people that live there, like Green Charter Township, they're in the dark. But the deal's already been struck with the township board and the rest of it, and you're stuck with it. Not this time around. And now they're trying to get the money back. This isn't really to help, I think, the people of Mecosta County. I think it's to put the money back in the strategic fund so that they can pass it off to somebody else, some other crony that they've got, probably. They're seeking, quote, immediate payment, according to the assistant Zemer there. MEDC spokeswoman Danielle Emerson told the news site the Friday letter gives Goshen 90 days to repay without penalty. Now, MEDC has worked since September 17th to fully brief the Attorney General's office and coordinate the return of the balance, they say. They're telling the Detroit News. The Friday letter addressed to Goshen Vice President of North America Manufacturing Chuck Thalen, what's what we call China Chuck. If you've been following around China Chuck.
China.
He's the one that's been up there telling everybody, no, this is great. Everybody loves it up. Yeah, they love it. Everybody's full speed ahead. Along with the Green Charter Township former board chair, they've been running around just telling everybody this is like the best thing since sliced bread. And the other ones that told people, we did sort of a survey on this, and we found that people want it. Huh? They did no such survey. Effectively, after they made that announcement, actual surveys were done, and like 90% were opposed to it. You remember this? Tudor Dixon at the time running for governor helped bring the alarm. The Midwesterner watching this. And those folks in Mecosta County, boy, they were just, Green Charter Township specifically, they were just bulldogs on this.
And I think Goshen, the state, Whitmer, the rest of it, I think they found out they just messed with the wrong folks. And essentially, way this plays out, and this is the good news, is it's really set up now a blueprint and a plan, a way for these folks to fight, whether it's a battery plant. I just got an email about some sort of solar installation on farmland. I think it's in Richland. That residents aren't happy about. Look, no matter what it is, the data centers, which we had a really good conversation about over the weekend in the podcast that came out. And by the way, if you missed, we played some of it for you yesterday. If you missed it, I would suggest going back to watch or listen to it in the podcast. JustinBarkley.com, the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast. That way you'll be able to have a full grasp. And we are putting the finishing touches on this document that you'll be able to have that will arm you with the facts and what you can ask. These are just questions. They're not statements. I'm not telling you what to say, but I'm telling you what to ask if indeed they want to put a data center into your own backyard where you are. The funny part is AI helped us write it. Now the humans are putting the fine-tuned touches on it and everything. But that's what I found kind of ironic about it. But it's got to go through all the product. I'm giving it to the experts. And we're going to put this thing together. I'm going to send it out in my email, in my newsletter. So if you want to get it, and eventually we'll post it up somewhere. I'm not exactly sure, probably on the website, someplace like that. But if you want to get it, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure you grab my email newsletter, justinbarkley.com. You can just sign up there, put your name and whatever, and I'll send it to you. No strings attached, but wanted to make sure that you have it. That's the upside of the Goshen battle, by the way. It's equipped people, empowered them down to be able to go out and fight things in their backyard. Same as the school board fights during 2020. And by the way, that's where you need to get engaged. The fight often in Washington, D.C. or Lansing seems like it's the one that matters most. And yes, I get some of it does. I'm not taking that away from the folks who have federal battles and state battles. But what I'm getting at is a lot of times these issues that you'll feel immediately and most intimately will be the things that are happening right there in your own backyard. That's why I believe it's so important. And all of these things that set us up for this moment that we're about to go into, you are you're seeing the fruit right now of it. So I would just encourage you, make sure that you're active, make sure that you're informed, and get in the battle because we need you. We need you now more than ever, folks. Taking the country back, making America great again starts with your backyard, believe it or not. That's your own little geographic piece of the pie. All right, we're back with more in just minutes. I got that AI story that you're going to want to know about this morning as well, that the bots are talking to each other. It is freaky. It really is concerning. But Trent Knippy, Affordable Eye Store, Lake Michigan Drive and Stand Down, Grand River Tech, going to join us with the latest and the facts on that and more.
Stream us on your smartphone. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Tuesday, February 3rd. I'm Robin Poffman. Goshen is gone and Michigan wants its money back. The Michigan Attorney General's office sending a formal demand letter to the company with close ties to the Chinese Communist Party, starting the clock on Goshen to repay more than $23 million in tax dollars spent to purchase property for a planned EV battery component plant near Big Rapids. The Livonia Police Department revising its immigration-related protocols to ensure minimal cooperation with federal law enforcement and protections for illegal immigrants. And a huge mystery is law enforcement in Tucson, Arizona, searching for the mother of NBC broadcaster Savannah Guthrie. The working theory is the 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie abducted from her home, her cell phone and heart medication left behind. ABC News contributor and former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce.
Being so close to that Mexican border, it's relevant to talk about.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Game day starts before kickoff. Get ready for the big game with help from Menard.
Welcome in, folks. It is the behind-the-scenes live stream, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you see it all right here first. Thank you for hanging out with us behind the scenes today. Look, we got lots to cover today. We got lots going on. If there's anything you think we missed or something you think we ought to cover, drop it in the chat. Let me know. And in the meantime, say good morning. We'd love to say hi to you there. I got Gritter over on the VIP over on Locals. Hey, just $9 a month to join. And if you want to get a whole year, you can get your month free, the first month free, and a copy of my book if you sign up for a whole year. VIP. That's right. JustinBarkley.com/VIP over on Locals. Mando, good to see you, my friend. Carol says our Township Planning Commission is writing ordinances right now for battery storage and data centers. DTE attends all the meetings. I'll be sending all of the info to members. We are Lapeer County, but St. Clair County is doing so as well in their preparation to protect their communities. Good news. We're ahead of the curve. I think we're a lot better off than what we thought we would be, or what they thought we would be. Cook Garden So, good to see you. Dina, good to see you too. Panda, Hammy, Patriot Dean, Life are hanging out with us today. Thank you guys. Appreciate you being here with us today. Over on Rumble. We'll say good morning to the crew hanging out over here today. I see SJ, History Diggers. Let me see Jenny Len. Good to see you. Tennyson, 1769. Gary probably over there rubbing it in that he's down in Florida, probably on a boat today. Beasley, good to see you too. The Bookers, Jessica, Deanne, Rhonda, Jason, Sherry, Bonnie, and over on X, Booyah, good to see you guys. All right, about like 45 seconds until we're back on the air, and we'll be rolling right along at lightning speed. The fastest hour on radio is flying by, folks. Stand by. Here we go.
Radio has your complete football coverage. Dive deep into early takes with the official NFL Podcast Network.
Welcome to NFL Daily.
And go live with Fox Sports Radio to join the conversation.
The two best road teams in the NFL.
Plus, iHeart is the home of the Super Bowl 60 tailgate concert presented by NetApp. Just open the iHeartRadio app and search NFL to dive in.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
If you're thinking of making the move, or maybe you got someone in your family that is, the move into assisted living, you're thinking about this, it really is it could be a very emotional time. Well, it doesn't have to be. See, that's the thing. Our good friend Kevin Yoder, a real estate expert, the Yoder Real Estate Team, LPT Realty, have built something really cool to help you get it all done and without any headaches or hassles. The Senior Smooth Move System. And it helps families just like yours. They prep and sell your home. They'll line up the move, coordinate every detail so nothing falls through the cracks for you or for your parents, whoever you love that's going through this. It's a smart way to take control and take the stress off your plate. You can schedule your free in-home consultation and find out more when you go to seniorsmoothmove.com. That's seniorsmoothmove.com or call 616-303-5671. That's 5671 and seniorsmoothmove.com. Kevin will join us later this week. In fact, got news about the housing market we're going to get to. More big news about the economy as well. The White House hailing a 4-year low in rent prices. You see that? Rent prices at a 4-year low amid other wins with tackling inflation, bringing the cost of everything down. A 4-year low in rents. I wonder if that has anything to do with illegal immigration, the number of folks that are being booted out of the country in the first place that shouldn't be here.
Make your smart speaker smarter. Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax.
Yep, it's another interesting story, another big one for you. All right, let's see if I can. Looks like our good friend Trent will be popping in any moment. Stand by for him. Let's say, got a couple of things that I wanted to. Oh gosh, the crazies are out. The crazies are out, man. Some of these people. Man, oh man, oh man. Have you seen the story about the, I think it's called the SAVE Act or maybe the Save America Act. I don't remember exactly what they're calling it now. But essentially it would require voter ID, which is kind of like a no-brainer in the first place. Like it would require you to make sure, hey, you are who you are when you come to vote. And it also would require states to clean their voter rolls. It's working its way through the House right now.
3 weeks, there has been a lot of news under the surface about the SAVE Act. This is a bill to safeguard our elections and require proof of U.S. citizenship before voting, among other provisions. Now, our conversation on this started with Scott Presler, who has been calling on Senate Majority Leader John Thune to allow a vote every day since January 1st. Earlier this month, Scott joined me here to make his case.
The American people demand Senate Majority Leader John Thune bring a vote on the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, and let's have proof of citizenship to register to vote. We have this one moment in history with Donald Trump at the helm, with a trifecta Republican government. I say nuke the gosh darn filibuster, pass law after law after law.
That interview went viral and senators went into action. Senator John Cornyn said he spoke to Leader Thune about the SAVE Act. Senators Katie Britt and Dave McCormick signed on as co-sponsors, and several others like Rick Scott ramped up his support publicly. Here's Senator Scott last week.
However we do this, all right, whether it's part of the spending bill this week, whether it's a separate bill, whether we have to stay there, and do a standing filibuster, whatever it's going to take, we got to get this passed. We've got to secure our elections. I can't imagine a Republican senator that would vote against, making sure that you have to have proof of citizenship to register to vote and to vote. Now, how could anybody, I don't know how a Democrat could be against this.
Yeah. After that interview came an avalanche of support for the SAVE Act. You see it here. The tally now sits at 49 co-sponsors, and Senate Majority Leader John Thune said this week he will allow a vote.
They are still modifying the bill. It includes right now a requirement that you be a citizen to register to vote, but it doesn't include a requirement that to vote you be a resident. That's being fixed and addressed, and I think the new bill that comes out hopefully will deal with that. But at some point we'll have that vote.
Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's a co-sponsor, joins me now. Senator Blackburn, as we look at this, I believe there are either 4 or 5 Republican holdouts, and I'm curious, what's the holdup for some of your Republican colleagues?
Well, I never speak for my colleagues, Kaylee, but I will tell you this. It is important that people be a citizen, that they show proof of citizenship to register and to vote. And in Tennessee, we have been ranked #1 when it comes to safe elections. And we are so proud of our Secretary of State, Trey Hargett and his team that have been able to put us in that number one election integrity spot. And when you go to vote in Tennessee, you have to show who you are. These records have to match up. Every state should be certain that only citizens are voting in their elections.
You know, Senator Blackburn, your colleague, Senator Scott, I asked him about eliminating the filibuster because we know that there will be 60 votes that are going to be needed for this, and there are only 54 Republicans. He said that he would be open to maybe a carve out for specific legislation, maybe attaching it to a spending bill, something, because this is that important. Where do you stand?
And one of the things that we have discussed, and Rick Scott, Senator Scott, leads our conservative group, our steering committee in the Senate. And we have talked about maybe we use it for the appropriations bill so you don't get into these shutdown fights. Maybe we review the 1974 Budget Act so that we go about appropriating differently. But here is the point. What you want to do is remove the ability of the Democrats to eliminate a filibuster and run roughshod, be able to pack the Supreme Court, be able to add.
By the way, SAVE Act does not look like it's going to make it into this this round with the budget. Probably should be something different that they say they want to do. And let's be clear, this needs to be done. How it gets done will be the whole question of the game. Let's get Trent real quick and make sure, because we got to jump back on the air here in a moment. Let's make sure he looks good, sounds good. Good morning, Trent. How are you?
Morning, Justin. Sounds good, loud and clear.
Fantastic. Thank you for doing this. We're all over AI this morning, folks. Big developments last week and through the weekend. So we're going to try and make heads or tails of it all and cut through the noise. I'm going to grab a quick phone call when we come back, Trent, and then we'll be rocking and rolling. Stand by. Here we go, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, thank you for sharing the program, guys. It really does help us break the algorithm. Facebook had some issues. It has, although we're seeing improvement. When you share, it helps us get the word out, and people are able to see it pops up in their feed. So that's always good. Thank you for doing that. It definitely helps. And if you're on X or you're on Rumble, wherever you are, those are things that make a big difference. All right, back on the air. Here we go, folks. Stand by.
Talon will also give you the gift of a will and trust. Now, Mike and his team are not attorneys, but they work with a group of attorneys who will provide a will and trust to you at no charge.
Advisory services offered through Talon Private Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Powered by our good friends at the Good Feet store. Yes, keeping us on our toes, on our feet with all the news. Yeah, even the stuff that really matters most. Family at home. I got my girls, 3 and 5. I can't wait to tell you how much weight I've lost in just the first few weeks of the year. And I'm feeling better than ever. And I think it's all because of the folks at the Good Feet store. You can stay active. You can do what you want to do. You can keep your New Year's resolutions with the folks at the Good Feet store, and you can do it in comfort. Find out more when you walk into the Good Feet store today. 28th Street, right there in front of Costco. And you can go to Portage and Westage in front of Kohl's and just say hi. Tell them Justin sent you and experience that feeling. It's the Good Feet store. All right, Mike in Wyoming, we're going to let you have at it first on data centers on the phone line before we get to our tech talk. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Justin. Say, Justin, the way I see it, again, you know me, I uphold the middle working class because I'm part of it. We don't need any more AI centers. We're plenty smart enough. I just see another drain with the water and the power on the middle class. Just like we don't need Greenland. What we need, Justin, is Cars are $50,000. They can't figure out why they're not selling them. Kids can't buy homes, and 1,000 here and 1,000 there ain't going to change nothing. So the way I see it, nix the AI. We still got to lean on this middle class and getting that money back in their pocket.
Mike, I appreciate the call. What really needs to happen, and I think the situation is you need to hear about it. You need to hear about what happens, because we can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. And this is one of my biggest frustrations. I get people say, well, we don't need to do this. We need to do that. No, we need to do it all. It's not an either or, it's an and. And we don't have a lot of time. And by the way, President Trump is very capable of being able to do it all. We can go get Greenland. In fact, the deal's already done. This is a strategic situation. He's locking things up for the future. And it's not all about mineral rights. Most of it's about security when it comes to protecting North America from Russia being able to access and have that direct, and China as well. And these are things that are very important that need to happen. AI, the president has said, is very important. It needs to happen. Here's why. And I believe this is true. We've got to be ahead of this. We've got to get this technology developed. We're watching the race. This is another race to the nuclear bomb, right? Just like Einstein back in World War II. We're racing to the nuclear bomb, the Oppenheimer project. We're trying to get there first. What if China does? What if they nail this before we do? It doesn't matter how much your cars are going to cost. It doesn't matter how much your rent's going to be. It doesn't matter how much the food's going to be, because they're going to control it all. That's the truth. So you got to do all these things at once. And here's the good news. In fact, I'm not certain whether Mike heard it or not, but before we went into break, I just told you the rent lowest in 4 years. Prices are coming down. The price of gas is coming down. So, yes, they need to hear it. They need to hear it over and over again. The problem is you're not hearing it because we've discovered fraud in Minnesota. So the thing that's leading the headlines is all the paid, organized insurrection that's happening there, and you don't get to hear the good news. So it is happening, and it'd just be a matter of time. On the AI centers, we dove deep into this on our podcast this weekend. You're absolutely right, Mike, in the effort of wanting to protect the middle class. So we're not going to, or Americans in general, we're not going to see the cost of energy or water or any of those things shoot up and skyrocket through the roof, because that's a real possibility. We've already seen that happen over the last several years. Ain't here, as far as I can tell, in the People's Republic of Michigan, because what's happened? Our energy price had gone up through the roof because they tried to float wind, solar, and unicorn farts. That green pipe dream doesn't work and never will.
How dare you?
And yet you and I are still here paying for it all. So I agree. I agree with you that, these are things that do need to happen, but they can all happen at the same time. And the idea that $1,000 here or there ain't going to help anybody, I'll tell you what, I'll take yours. I'll take your share. So a woman talking about Democrats the other day, saying $1,000 in Trump accounts. There's some people that are refusing to take the Trump $1,000 Trump accounts for their kids. She said, I'll tell you what, I'll take yours. I said, yeah, you bet. I'll take yours too. What's going to happen 10, 20 years down the road when those kids come to their mom and dad and say, hey, where's my money? I got my friends got all this money saved up in investments and whatnot. Where's mine, Mom, Dad? Boy, that's going to be a tough conversation. I can tell you that much.
Hack into the latest in tech and how it affects you and your world. This is Tech Talk Tuesday on Wood Radio's West Michigan Live.
Welcome in, our good friend Trent Kennedy of Fort Eli Store, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale, Grand River Tech. Thank you for being here today. The conversation is dominated by AI, because AI is dominating lots of things today. There was a major story over the weekend that really got people buzzing. So we're going to try and break this down. It involves something called Claudebot, which is now called Moltbot, and also something called OpenClaw. And essentially these are AI agents. We'll just call them assistants. They can go out and do jobs for you. Well, companies have been pushing this out. People and developers, this is essentially what it was made for, developers, to go out and run experiments and do some things. Well, people were downloading them onto their computers and having it go out and run all kinds of tasks for them. And they were hyping this up, talking about it all weekend. And then we heard a story that sounded very concerning. These bots or these agents had supposedly gone and set up what they were calling Claude Book or Molt Book or whatever they were calling it. Doesn't matter. These are basically a social media site where they could talk to each other. And the conversations were wild. Trent, welcome in. We appreciate you being here with us today.
Good morning, Justin. Yeah, it's a wild weekend. Lots of information coming out. It feels like every week it's, you don't know what's going to hit next because these things like this Claude bot, OpenClaw, it's been around for a while, Justin, a couple of years. But it made the news because it is the next step forward in AI. It is a step closer to that artificial intelligence, general intelligence, as they say, which is supposedly the ultimate place for AI to take over power, control over, pretty much everything, either in a good way or a bad way, depending on how you look at it. But what it is, Justin, to break it down, to make it simple. So traditional AI, if you jump on ChatGPT or something, you have to put in a prompt, a text prompt, a voice prompt, to ask it to do something. It's prompt based. This OpenClaw is basically a personal assistant AI that, yes, you can prompt it, but it's designed to be installed on your computer to monitor and watch what you do on a daily basis. And it learns, like, for example, every day, if you come into your office, start your job at, punch in at 7 o'clock, pull up your email box, go through your email box. If that's the first thing you do every day, it watches you do that. And after a couple of days, it's going to learn and say, hey, every day you take these spam emails, you push spam. Every day you respond to this email for scheduling. Every day you do this. It takes those repetitive tasks that you do, and it starts to auto do them for you without you having to tell it to, ask it to, or whatever. And that's just step one, Justin. So once it gets a little better with that, then it goes from there, and it'll auto respond on its own to things like a coworker says, hey, this report that we made together last year on a project, can you pull that up and send it to me? I misplaced it. And it'll go search your computer files and email that report over without your even consent. Sure, you can look at a history of what it did, but it's not going to ask you or even prompt you. And then, Justin, it gets even better. So in time, and it doesn't necessarily do this right now, but it's next week, a couple days when this model gets better, it's going to scan your emails and it's going to say, hey, you're not one to participate in team activities. So every Friday on the staff lunch, it's going to say you're bringing cookies, and it's going to email your entire team staff email group to say, hey, Friday I'm bringing cookies, just FYI. It's going to tell you later, hey, you never participate in Friday stuff. So you're bringing cookies today, and you're going to go to Meijer's tonight, and you're going to pick up the ingredients that make cookies. And when you hop in your car to go home, it's going to pop up and say navigating to Meijer's. And then when you get to Meijer's, it's going to pop up your reminder list with the ingredients list for your shopping list. And Justin, you can see very, very quickly how this infiltrates your life.
Who's working for who here, Trent? Hey, you know what? I will tell you, I've heard some interesting stories. Aside from the Facebook thing, I heard that one of these, and I don't know, some of this could just be social media hype, but I heard that one of these things went and bought because it had access to the guy's credit cards and all this other stuff. He went and bought a phone line, a phone number, and then it called him and asked him, do you need me to do anything for you today? Or what can I do for you? It kept calling him, kept bothering him. And then I heard another one that saw that he had dinner on his schedule, on his calendar, and it went and it opened up like a DoorDash account, and it ordered food. The guy comes to the door, he knocks, the DoorDasher, and he opens up the door. He sees this guy here. He goes, what's this all about? He goes, well, I got an order for you. He goes, I didn't order food. He goes, well, I got it right here for the name, and he gave it Gustavo Mandelson or something like that. It's just a fake name. The guy goes, that's the fake name I made up for my Claude bot to tell it who I was without it actually knowing. So it actually went out, ordered the food, had it sent to the house. Now, there are a couple of things. I think there's some good in here. I think at some point it will be effective at doing things that we don't want to do or don't need to do and that just cost us time and energy and effort. But there's some warnings. And I know this probably goes without saying, but Be very careful about what you give anything on the internet or bots, or even if you think it doesn't have access to this or that. Be very careful about what you give it access to. I saw another video this week where somebody was talking to ChatGPT and he created a new account. And on this new account, he gave it a different name. And the new account mentioned his real name. And so he's talking to it. And when he talks to it, he said, "How did you do that?" Eventually, the AI tells him, "Well, I don't know, but it seems that I have access to information that I shouldn't have." In other words, it's not as compartmentalized as we all are led to believe it is. And I think at some point we're going to find out that all of these things that the developers have done to try to make it compartmentalized weren't effective, or the AI outsmarted it and was able to get access to all of it. So it does have a vast wave of knowledge there. And I'll tell you, I think that should be something that could be very concerning for all of us.
Justin, you're very right in that point there. So traditional safeguarding of information, which typically would reside in a database, computer files, you have some kind of a password security, you have some kind of virtual security, even if it's weak, even if it's hackable, even if it's breachable or stealable, there is still some physicalness to it. Once AI has access to your information, it can be shared, it can be shared in a metadata form, so it doesn't need to have the full physical files to be able to have and share and store that information, with very, very unknown boundaries or walls of how it can share that, how it can use that. Because if it takes that information, feeds that into some other AI that's more efficient into processing images or whatever, who's to say that AI is going to hold it safe or secure? These scientists, these computer engineers hardly know how AI works, never mind how to ensure its data is kept private. So that's a very good point, Justin.
All right, next question. Are they really creating these fake book accounts? Now, I saw a post yesterday, so I have to do more digging to really get to the bottom of this, but maybe you can tell me. I saw a report yesterday that whole Facebook or Moltbook, Cloudbook, the social media thing was actually a hoax, that they have not, that somebody else created it and they were feeding prompts into the thing.
Justin, whether it's a hoax or not, I don't know. I don't care. The point is, if AI can go through your email box and take just your email, not every other aspect of your workday, but just your email, if it can go do stuff, enter it automatically, do you not think somebody's email on the other end that receives that report isn't going to go send it out to whoever else? It's already there. They're already working together if this system's being used in an autonomous fashion. So it's already here.
Is AI taking over? It may have already done that. And back to the movies here, because that seems like something out of Skynet, out of the movie. What about this one? The city of Dearborn has unveiled a drone as first responder program. And on one hand, this sounds really cool. On another hand, it sounds kind of terrifying. If there's a problem, if there's crime in one area of the city, or if there's something being reported, the drones can get there first and fast, and they can feed back information to what's actually happening to like the responding center, where the folks are standing by watching it all, and they can see it. And maybe in some cases even provide aid at some point. We don't know. But this program is new, and it's actually happening here in Michigan.
Yeah, Justin, there's some really, really, really good things from this, and obviously scary. But let's start with the good thing. Let's just say downtown Grand Rapids, boat overturns fishing in the river. Somebody's fishing with their waders, gets swept downstream, trips and falls. This happens every year, sadly. And it takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't know how long for them to get a boat into that icy, frigid water. If they could use a drone to even just track the person as they're floating down the stream, there's a very good chance of saving them. Otherwise, the person could be miles downstream, no idea where they are. They're probably dead, Justin, sadly. So this drone could fly out from a phone call of a person that sees somebody in a situation of distress. It can fly out within minutes. It can be tracking them with heat signatures, with infrared cameras. Same thing if your business is broken into. If there's a bad guy, they can send this over to your business and track a car that robbed a bank faster than probably a police car could get there, Justin. So those are the good use cases. The scary part of this is is a police officer always going to be on the other end of the screen? So as long as a police officer who's trained, who's certified, who's locally accountable, local guy, woman, whatever, is there like a real police officer responding, I think that's great personally, Justin. But as soon as they say, hey, it's more efficient to have a national center where we have responders to all these things, these drones that are sitting parked, monitor them. And then since they're sitting idle a lot waiting for a call, let's just source these out to other businesses or government agencies who want to check your roof or check your driveway. If it's too cracked, we're going to send you a citation or whatever. That's where you can see really quickly where if this is in the local control of our local government, accountable by us as citizens, I think it could be a very, very life-saving, helpful technology. If not, the sky's the limit where this is going.
Good and bad wrapped in all of it. That's the thing. Discernment is needed. Always good uses and bad uses. It depends on who's running it and who's using it. That's the key. We'll have more on this. We'll continue to follow these stories. In the meantime, always a pleasure. Affordable Ice Store, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale, and Grand River Tech. Our good friend Trent Knibbie, at the heart of it all, he can help you whether you have personal device questions or maybe there's something that you need with your business, your organization, your church, your school, security, and more. Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Justin. Have a great day.
You got it. More in minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. We've got another chance to weigh in on the iHeartRadio app. Just click that little microphone button and sound off. The fastest hour on radio is flying by. West Michigan Live. Hey, taking a look at the markets this morning. Looks like we had a little bit of a rebound yesterday, up 500 points at a Dow. And today we are open and running. Green on the screen, 127 is what we're up on the Dow right now. S&P down, NASDAQ down a little bit. And gold and silver trade recovering as well. So all of that part of it. Look, you don't have to feel like you're on a roller coaster ride no matter what those tickers say. Yeah, you could feel confident knowing that you're taking the holistic approach. The folks at Talent Wealth, guardingyournestegg.com, help you get there. Mike Lester and the team, they're going to take care of you so that when you're ready to retire, no matter whether it's today, tomorrow, or 10, 20 years down the road, you're going to be where you need to be when you want to be there. Call them today at 616-661-1000. That's 616-661-1000, or go online to guardingyournestegg.com and tell them Justin sent you.
Make your smart speaker smarter. Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Tuesday, February 3rd. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Liberal thinkers in Livonia not cooperating with ICE. A letter posted on Facebook indicating police officers will not investigate immigration violations or contact federal immigration authorities, including ICE and or Border Patrol, during calls for service, traffic stops, or other routine police activity unless a valid warrant or court order exists. Meanwhile, additional Michigan Democrats on the wrong side of federal law as well, as they too move to restrict ICE law enforcement operations here in Michigan. Democrats in both Lansing and Washington supporting multiple bills to interfere with cooperation between state and local entities and ICE. And the head of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, sending ICE agents in Minneapolis body cameras. President Trump reacts.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
You'll use the radio.
All right, folks, big after show coming up in just moments. It's the kind of show that we can only do after the show, really. Some of this we could talk about on the air, but we just don't have enough time. There's some of it really requires a deep dive, and the kind that we can only do really in this streaming and podcast form. So what do we got coming up? Well, one of the things we're going to talk about before we get, so we got just a few minutes before we're back and we're on the air and then out. Federal agents raiding an Amazon facility in Michigan. We're going to get to that one. Good news. Trump on the Georgia voter fraud investigation. He's commenting on it. I think you're going to want to hear what he has to say on this. And I played you the video yesterday. A woman saying, yeah, these Democrats are in sheer panic. We got some updates out of Minnesota as well. But the story that I find the most fascinating, as we continue to get more out of these Epstein documents, there are a couple of questions right now that are floating around, and we're going to try and answer some of them, or at least detail why they're asking about them. Is Epstein still alive? Now, I don't mean that as a joke. That's a real serious concern. We got some evidence out of the files that may actually support that theory. So we're going to talk about that. And you know that pizza thing that Alex Jones and some of these other folks have been like sort of lambasted for the last few years? Turns out that pizza thing, at least we have some evidence, they may have been real. There's lots of discussion around all of that, well, particularly that subject in the files. Hang on, folks. Back on the air here. Stand by. We're at it, and the fastest hour in radio is underway and almost up, but I'll tell you this. Coming up in the after show, we're going to try and answer this question. Is Epstein, I can't believe I'm asking it, but it's real. And I'm not making a joke here. Is Epstein actually still alive? There's something that came out in the files that actually may support that. So we'll get into that and more coming up in the after show, the show after the show. Is exactly on what they were looking for and whether they found it yet or not. But that is the story that folks are talking about today. We'll have more coming up in the after show. In the meantime, we wish you the best. The Glenn Beck program is coming up next. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
From the retirement experts at Matson Financial Studio.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
Trade in your bad feet for good feet. We want to help you walk, run, exercise, and play in comfort this year. We're on 28th Street Southeast in Grand Rapids and on West Nidge Avenue in Portage.
Hi there, it's Rick.
And Stacy from the Gardening Simplified Show.
Get your flower.
All right, folks. No updates on Savannah Guthrie's mom. They said earlier they believe it's a crime scene. That does not bode well. I don't think. So, folks, praying for her and, the family. You hate to see anything like that happen. Anybody. Okay. Stand by. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. The show after the show, that's why we call it the after show. Never enough time, never enough to get through all the stories that we want to get through today and every day. But we're doing our best right now. And we thank you for being here with us. The question today is Epstein still alive? I know that sounds kind of tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. It maybe even sound like a joke, but there's real evidence that came out of the files that were dropped over the weekend that may suggest there may be something to a theory that was posted and in fact, information posted on a message board years ago that would suggest maybe he is. And I will tell you that reality is stranger than fiction often, and maybe even right now more than ever. It is something else. We're going to break some of that down coming up. First, our good friends Mike Liddell and the folks at MyPillow are helping you get through the winter in comfort and style. And maybe it's time you're starting to think about this right now. The President's Day mattress sales are popping up everywhere. Make sure you support Mike. Support a patriot who's been working and fighting so hard for you and to help and save our country. MyPillow.com/Justin, MyStore.com/Justin. They got a mattress topper sale on sale right now. They've got mega sale with bedding and pillows and all kinds of great things. The towels, they even have mattresses themselves on sale. We were getting ready to get our kids the actual twin beds. They've graduated from cribs and whatnot into actual twin beds. And we've ordered all of that, and we're ordering mattresses right now. Got to put that together. Boy, that's going to be fun, putting all that together. At least the mattress comes and easy to deal with. We've already got them the My Pillow Children's Bible Story Pillow, which is really cool. We got a 5-pack, and we gave them out to the family, kids in the family, and it's been a big hit. All kinds of great stuff at MyPillow.com/Justin. Use promo code Justin. That's MyPillow.com/Justin or MyStore.com/Justin. Do it today and help support Mike. He is a heck of a patriot. I can tell you that much. Mike is one of the best. One of the best, that Mike Lindell. All right. That being said, let's break down, see if we can. There's a reason why I want to do this, because, look, you hear so much. You hear so much floating around on the internet. You don't know what to believe. You don't know what to not believe. You know, it's kind of this. I think it's designed like that nowadays. In some ways, really to keep us kind of guessing and, on our toes about things. I think this is one of those scenarios. This Epstein files dump. And by the way, I got a story. I saw one. I think it was a Western Journal. They said, hey, we warned about dropping all these files. And what would possibly happen is that you'd have victims who were going to end up coming out and saying, oh, my goodness, I don't want my information out there. Now it's everywhere. And so there are many victims whose names have been printed in these reports who are now saying, please redact this stuff. Please remove my name from the reports. So that's one piece of it. Because like I said yesterday, what you're getting isn't it's not answers in the form of like, this is exactly what happened. We know exactly who did this. And this is what you're actually getting is you're getting all of it, all of the raw data, all the files. And some of it could be credible and maybe is, right? And then some of it is just, for lack of a better word, junk. It's literally just everything that came out. And so that's wild. Did I see the theory that Epstein is Mamdani's daddy? I did. I don't know. I just don't. Anything's possible. We showed you the picture of Mamdani and his mom with Epstein and Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and all of that the other day. Boy, everybody thought Mamdani was just going to be this. Well, he really fooled those folks in New York City, didn't he? I would say everybody thought we knew, but they all thought he was going to be this guy who's he's just, fighting for the people. No. Seems like he's one of those elitists just as much as we told you he was. But anyway, where does this story come from? Because it is a very interesting story. Why are they asking or saying, hey, is Epstein still alive? Well, here's the breakdown. A few years back, when he died, on the message board 4chan, which is where a lot of the Q stuff was posted at one point. Grok says it's not true. Grok's only dealing with the information. Now, I did ask Grok yesterday, is it possible that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive? And then he did, it did show me. I don't know. Is there a history on Grok? Let's see. Yeah, here's what it says. No, Jeffrey Epstein is not alive. And then it goes on to tell you the story, right? That said, it says, after it tells you the official story, the files do contain new details related to an infamous 2019 4chan post that speculated about a possible switch out or removal of Epstein from the facility he was in before his death was announced. Here's a summary of that information based on what's emerged in the document. So I'll give you some of this and walk you through. In fact, some of this, let me see if I can actually find the post to show you, because there's a picture of it somewhere. Oh, well, if I find it, I find it. But let me just read it to you, because this is here it is, actually. It's kind of hard for you to read this text. Maybe I can make it bigger. Yeah. I don't know what this box is doing here. Let's get rid of that box. No, we can't. Okay. I hope you can read that. If you can't, this is what it says. Okay. Not saying anything after this. Please do not try to dox me, but last night after 04:15 count, it'd be the 4:15 count, they took him medical in a wheelchair front cuffed, but not one triage nurse says they spoke to him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless a judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The trip van did not sign in, and we did not record the plate number, and a guy in green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. This was posted Saturday, August 10th, 2019 at 8:44 a.m. p.m. I don't know. Okay, so why do I bring this up? Let's explore it with Grok, because here's what we find out. After that post described comes out, I think some people really thought, oh, there's something to this, and then some people probably dismissed it. It notably mentions suspicious activity the night before, Epstein allegedly being wheeled out of his cell in shackles in a medical wheelchair, coinciding with the arrival of the unauthorized white van at the prison. Poster implied this could mean Epstein was removed or switched out, speculating it was part of a cover-up. Now, here's why this matters today with what the files came out and decided, or we discovered. The DOJ includes records from a grand jury investigation launched the day after Epstein's death by U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman of the Southern District of New York. Subpoenas were issued to 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank to identify the anonymous poster. Bank records from Citibank, unredacted in the files, tied the poster to Roberto Grijalva, an MCC prison lieutenant who was on duty at the time where Epstein was being held. His identity matches statements from the prison's internal investigation into Epstein's death, adding potential credibility to the post as an insider account rather than a hoax or a troll. So, again, this post that was made on, I've looked at the pictures of the Epstein. Sherry, thank you for that. I can't make that determination. And honestly, I don't know, how do I verify that? I mean, I think when you're looking at pictures and stuff like that, it's kind of like when you're looking at the sky and you see clouds, you can see, oh, that one looks like a Volkswagen. You can see what you're looking for. So pictures, yeah, they're interesting, but at the same time, I don't think it's as damning as this, which is really wild to me that we have the story here of this post that was made, right? And then the files actually go on to say that the guy was a person, because if it's just a hoax, It's probably just now. I'd love to hear from this guy. Let's somebody get this guy on the phone. Somebody interview this guy. What did you see? What do you think you saw? What is he around? Can we talk to him? Where is he? I'm really interested in that. Because if Epstein's still alive, that might shine a little more light on why we've seen what we've seen happen with all of this. Here's what else Grok said when I asked it. Hey, let's look at this stuff. Grok says, while this identification has reignited speculation on social media, the files don't provide evidence of a switch or a fake. Now, it's not 100% proof, but it is evidence that the guy who made this claim was really who he said he was, which makes me think that there's a little more credence to this story. Now, I don't know. I don't think you can prove, whether or not the guy's still alive at this point. But you could certainly see they would have the motive to pull something like this off. You tell me. I don't know. I mean, I think it's too hard to call. Now, some people are going to say, does this matter? Well, I don't know that it matters unless we had more information to really prove this. Or would it matter if he's alive? That's a whole nother question. Well, it brings you down a rabbit hole of lots of different possibilities and options. And I like exploring them all, but without having facts and, evidence to back it up to tell you, well, this is exactly what the case is. It's really hard to really do anything else with it. Because you can imagine a possibility of endless possibilities, really. And where this whole thing could take you. Now, I think that's why a lot of people have gotten wrapped up in all of this, because it is so intriguing. Official reports emphasize suicide with details like Epstein's prior suicide attempt on July 23rd, 2019, and lapses in monitoring. Some theories stem from the photo mismatches. See, this is the one that we were just talking about. And a mortician's viral analysis of the July 23rd photo mistaken for a postmortem image. But these have been debunked. Now, I don't know. Again, the DOJ has also released videos and documents to counter conspiracies, including a fake recreation video that originated on 4chan and was briefly uploaded by mistake. Overall, the files focus more on Epstein's communications, unverified tips, many dismissed as false or election time smears, and investigation into associates like Ghislaine Maxwell, rather than altering the established facts around his death. If new evidence emerges in future releases, it could change this. But as of now, these details mainly validate the 4chan post's origin without proving the speculation. So I think there's something to that. In that case, Charlie Kirk could still be. Well, Elvis could still be alive. We don't know. we just don't know. And I think that's what drives folks crazy the most. It's like, all of these unknowns. And at the end of the day, some of this we just sort of have to be comfortable with, is not knowing some things. That's kind of where faith comes in, I think, at some point. You got to focus on what matters. And the rest of it is sort of, just got to be comfortable with not knowing. Hey, here's another story. This is another piece of that story. The Epstein files spark Pizzagate theory. As John Podesta's name is mentioned, this is not a game. This is from the Hindustan Times, which is one of the only places I could find that actually wrote about this. And again, I don't know if that's like, you want us to call this credible or not, but I'll just tell you, because I've seen the emails. The emails inside the thing that was the drop that was released, there were a number of emails that mentioned the word pizza. Here's one poster on X. This guy goes by the name of Ian. I Winster, I think is his handle here. So he says, so Pizzagate is 100% real? All roads lead back to that little pizza parlor in D.C. and the man named James. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I don't know if that proves it, but I will tell you the whole pizza story. Man, it's when you read this, you go, what? Now, I don't know about you, but I kind of sort of assumed when I saw the original emails, they were talking in code. And what they said that the pizza meant, I take things and I put them up on a shelf, but I didn't discount them. Look at this one, Jeffrey Epstein. You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza. Something about she looks pregnant. Somebody looks pregnant. And then that was the answer. Thanks. Thanks, blank. I didn't realize Bush raped him too. Okay. He has more to tell us, he said. I'd like to add other few disclosed by the purported victim. While on his yacht, he witnessed African-American males having sex with white, blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during this is too much to read. I got to be careful with this. I'm so sorry about this. He was a victim type of a ritualistic sacrifice. I'm not going to get into all of that. Was there pizza somewhere in here? Oh, here we go. Who all? Okay. Here's the subject line. Head count for pizza. Who all is in the Austin office today who is going to want pizza? We only have one slice, and we need to know how thinly to slice it. That's obviously code, but what the heck is it code for? If it's not code for what they say it is, which was children. Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. I don't know. That's just a whole nother weird scenario. But as I mentioned, these mentions of pizza, and there were quite a few. I think I looked it up. I think that was another one. Let's see. Let me check it. I think there were 900 mentions of the code word pizza out of the 3 million pages. Pizza appears 900 times. That's a little strange. Often in emails, messages, and context like pizza parties, head count for pizza, request for pizza in specific locations, Austin or Red Hook, or odd phrasing like how thinly to slice it, or pairings with slicing. Examples include thank you notes for providing pizza to a crew, messages from individuals like Aaron Coe, or emails involving Roy or Stephanie Hodges referencing pizza during outings, frequent pizza parties discussions, despite reports that Epstein was a health nut who avoided pizza himself. Some tie-ins to location like Red Hook near Epstein Island access point. Online speculation links to this long-standing pedophile code word list from the FBI bulletins of WikiLeaks-related claims. Pizza equals girl, underage female. Cheese pizza equals child pornography. Hot dog equals boy. Cheese equals little girl. Similar terms like pasta, ice cream, etc. appear hundreds or thousands of times in searches of the files. This has refueled renewed Pizzagate theories. The 2016 conspiracy about DC pizzeria and Democratic elites, with users claiming it validates earlier suspicion from Podesta emails, even though the original Pizzagate centered on the Comet Ping Pong remains debunked with no proven basement ring or direct ties there. I wouldn't say you've debunked it. In fact, I think this adds a lot of weight to that subject. However, mainstream coverage treats these as unsubstantiated online claims, reviving a debunked conspiracy theory. They note pizza mentions appear in mundane contexts. No official confirmation from DOJ, FBI, or court documents interprets pizza as systematic code in this release. But it is. It's obvious it's code. The files largely detail Epstein's post-conviction interactions with elites. Mentions of Bill Gates and others. Pizzagate itself. They say the files focused on known associations rather than new bombshells proving coded child trafficking. I don't know. I mean, Grok says this. In short, the pizza mentions are real and numerous, driving viral conspiracy chatter on X, but they remain interpreted as suspicious coincidence or projection rather than proven evidence. I don't know that it's proven evidence, but it is. It's evidence, nevertheless. What does it mean? That's just going to be something you have to decide for yourself. You have to decide for yourself. All this is very, very interesting. It is concerning, and I think it might be the most interesting part of the files thus far. I really do. Well, let's talk about it. Dan Bongino's first day back was yesterday. Dan, they say they broke the internet. Dan interviewed President Trump. I don't know if you saw that or not. That was part of his big show, big first day back. President Trump calls in to the show, and they have a quick conversation, which was interesting. Trump said, "I wasn't happy to see you leave," which I found
in my lifetime, and frankly, probably any other lifetime either. President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Dan, and you too. I was very unhappy when you left the FBI, but I was very happy that you have your show, which does so good. So I'm okay with this. It's net neutral. I call it a net neutral.
Well, Mr. President, I want to thank you for the opportunity. The past year has been absolutely incredible. And given that, you're a results guy, we were friends before, but working for you is a completely different experience. You are a results guy. You're a spreadsheets guy. How would you get to a net present value positive with what you're doing? And I'll never forget an Oval Office meeting we had in light of the D.C. crime numbers today. Hadn't had a homicide in a record amount of time in D.C. thanks to your leadership. We're sitting in the Oval Office, and I was talking to you about the homicide rate plunging, and it was only about 3 months into my term there. I said, Mr. President, what we're doing down in Memphis and elsewhere is working. And I'll never forget, I said, we're doing the broken windows, Rudy Giuliani style policing. You looked at me and you said, hey, how do we take this nationwide? And you never, ever let go. You stayed on top of it with me and Cash. You were all over it. You're such a hands-on guy. And it was just so refreshing to work for someone who doesn't get into all the hype and all the nonsense, but cares about the numbers. It's probably your business background or what it is, but amazing job on that.
Well, we have the best crime numbers we've ever had. We have the lowest number of crimes in 125 years since they recorded. That's in 1900. And to think of it, 125 years. That's despite a lot of bad people coming in through the border that shouldn't be here, and we're getting them out. You got a lot of them out yourself. We're doing much better than anybody would think. And yet we have our lowest, think of it, a lot of criminals came into our country. We're getting them out, and we're getting them out fast. We have to fight liberal judges and, fake governors, terrible governors and mayors, guys like, just take a look at Minnesota. Walsey's a disaster. But if you think about it, I was reading the Washington Post this weekend, and they have a big story on crime in D.C. is way down.
Right.
And the whole purpose of the story is why? We can't figure it out. What happened? Is it the police department? They stepped up their game. What is it? They talked about everything. And then toward the end, they had a little thing that, of course, Trump surged a lot of very tough military into it. And it was that surge that did it, I would say 97.2%. Okay, let's put it that way.
Interesting conversation for the whole thing. Obviously, you need to go back and watch. But I will tell you, Dan was back with a vengeance yesterday, which was interesting to watch. I caught part of it. I caught the interview with the president, and I thought that was really good. I'm glad to see it. I should probably mention this since we were talking Epstein and now we have the president here. CNN forced to announce something they probably didn't want to have to announce, but boy, anytime a leftist says anything to you or anyone argue with you online, you may want to just take this clip. We'll put it up in the stack today. Just take this clip and share it with them.
Epstein. The Journal reports that a spa worker from Mar-a-Lago often made house calls to Jeffrey Epstein's home 2 miles away. But those house calls, quote, came to a halt in 2003 after an 18-year-old beautician returned to the club from a house call to Epstein and reported to managers that he had pressured her for sex. The HR manager faxed Trump a letter suggesting that the club ban Epstein, and Trump agreed, which does mirror the president's own public comments about why he cut ties with Epstein. The White House is responding to the Wall Street Journal, writing, no matter how many times this story is told and retold, the truth remains President Trump did nothing wrong, and he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep.
He cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein long before Epstein became a convicted sex offender. A lot of Democrats didn't, and it is corroborated by the Wall Street Journal tonight.
You cannot beat that. And by the way, CNN has had to admit it, and I think it's important because a lot of this conversation about the files and what it means and where we go from here, that's important stuff. Also important to note all the good things that have been happening behind the scenes. Dan Bongino chronicling some of those with Jesse Waters last night.
You know, I was there very early on in March when this whole thing went down. The president was totally transformative on this immigration issue. He used Title VIII like no one had done it in American history before. It's quick story here. It was me, Pam, Cash, and Todd, and we were meeting over in the JCC, and they were like, listen, man, we're arresting a lot of these people in the country illegally. We're trying to flip them. We're spending all this money on, United States attorneys, proffer sessions, all this stuff, and they come up later, they don't have anything. Let's just give these people, again, I'm exaggerating a little bit, give them 5 minutes to flip, produce some information on a criminal enterprise. If you don't get you fill in the blank, out of the damn country. The president was like, I want him out. Like, I am not wasting a year on a proffer session feeding this guy in a U.S. prison if he doesn't even belong in the damn country. That, you may say, well, that sounds pretty simple. The president was the first one to think about that.
Yeah,
and that's why the crime rate is the lowest in U.S. history.
Dan, they're not just feeding them. Gavin Newsom's giving illegal alien sex changes in prison. It's just pouring money at these people like it's crazy.
It is crazy. It's not like it's crazy. It is. It is crazy. The whole thing is just absolutely nuts. Here's the president, by the way, on the Georgia Fulton County election investigation on with Dan yesterday in this conversation.
These people were brought to our country to vote, and they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. Now, you're going to see something in Georgia where they were able to get, with a court order, the ballots. You're going to see some interesting things come out. But, like the 2020 election, I won that election by so much. Everybody does it. They put a woman in jail, Colorado, put a woman in jail, a wonderful woman, 72 years old, had cancer, because she was a voting inspector. She was in charge of a voting area. And she saw boxes of votes come in. So she went over to check it, and they put her in jail for voter manipulation, and she's still in jail. And they better let her out fast. And they're suffering a big price, Colorado.
Talking about Tina Peters there is who he was talking about. Big news coming on Georgia soon. He says, big news coming on Georgia soon. Look, we're in the find out era. We are in the find out era. And there's no messing around with this. And we don't have a lot of time. So there has to be consequences. The American people demanded it. They asked for it. And if we don't give it to them, if they don't get the action that they're asking for, and I'm not talking about, without patience, certainly patience has to be involved in a lot of this process. Wheels of justice move slow, but we got to make sure that they get what they asked for, what they voted for. I've already seen the black pill in some of these folks. I think some of that's just a personality issue, but People will completely unplug and they will not get engaged. And I don't think at some point you get to a point where it doesn't matter. People will just not vote, and then they'll be able to rig everything.
For years, American businesses have risked running out of critical minerals during market disruptions. Today, we're launching what will be known as Project Vault to ensure that American businesses and workers are never harmed by any shortage. We don't want to ever go through what we went through a year ago. Just as although it did work out, thank you. Just as we have long had a strategic petroleum reserve and a stockpile of critical minerals for national defense, we're now creating this reserve for American industry so we don't have any problems. This historic initiative will combine $10 billion in export-import bank financing with $2 billion in private sector financing, and we even expect the American taxpayer to make a profit from the interest on the loan used to start the Project Vault. It's an amazing thing. They've been talking about it for years.
This is a very important project. It is one that will be a strategic issue, a strategic effort. Like we have oil reserves, et cetera, this will be that type of thing, Project Vault with minerals. Look, it's insane that some of the stuff we rely on other countries for. Like during 2020, the pandemic, we were going through that time, and we relied on China, and how much we realized we relied on China for things, but particularly for medicines. I mean, China just decided tomorrow that they were going to stop sending us the things that we need to make these medicines and drugs. I mean, you're talking about millions of people would die. They could just decide, I don't know where they're going to, that would start a war probably. But millions of people would die if they couldn't get their insulin, if they couldn't get all these different things that they need. Imagine that. We should never have been put in that position. And these globalist politicians that came first, boy, they're the ones put a square right there. Speaking of never should have been there, John Lamont never should have been at that church. Now he's in the find out era, squarely right in the middle. He's on gloating, I guess, last night on Jimmy Kimmel Live. And boy, he got a standing ovation at the Grammys. They did a little dinner for me with Clive Davis's dinner, and he got a standing ovation there. These people are so out of touch. Listen to what he had to say, talking about how scared he was.
Walking up to the room, and I pressed the elevator button, and all of a sudden I feel myself being jostled, and people trying to grab me and put me in handcuffs. And
this is where he was arrested at the hotel.
And I said, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "We came to arrest you." And I said, well, "Who are you?" And then finally they identified themselves. And I said, "If you are who you are, then where's the warrant?" And they didn't have a warrant, so they had to wait for someone from outside, an FBI guy, to come in to show me a warrant on a cell phone.
They had a warrant. They had a warrant. Don't let him mislead you. I hear the audience already groaning.
And by that time, I was like trying to, figure out what was going on and get my bearings, and they dropped all my stuff. My glasses had fallen on the floor. I'm like, I can't read that. So they had to pick my glasses up, and I read it. And
Oh no. Do you see how people's homes, did you see what happened to Ryan Kelly? Did you see how they did? And like these warrants came, no knock, a lot of them very early in the morning on Trump officials and people involved with January 6th. People that might have just been strolling through that were there. Ryan Kelly ended up, he getting wrapped up in all that, probably because he ran for governor. If he went to run for governor, they never would have come after him. Don't forget this, folks. So I had to get my glasses. This is what happens when you're on the other side of this.
Still, what does that mean? And then it was a bunch.
By the way, what they did to him was nothing.
Guys, and they took me outside. FBI guys were out there. I mean, it had to be maybe a dozen people.
You imagine if they come to his house and serve that no-knock warrant at the house? Boy, that would have been something.
Which is a waste, Jimmy, of resources, because I had told them weeks before, maybe once or twice, that we would, I think my attorney...
It's a waste of resources. You think it's a waste of resources, anything else they've done? Find out, Aaron.
Tried to contact them once, maybe twice, that I could just go in, and it would have to be the folks who were just working there that day, and they wouldn't have to have all these people.
I wish they would have had it all on camera. That's what I wish. That's the waste.
Following me around.
It's more than just a waste of resources. So they grab you and they take you where?
Well, you're right about more than just a waste of resources. They want that. They want to embarrass you. They want to intimidate you. They want to instill fear. And so that's why they did it that way.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What did you want at that church, Don Lemon? What did you want when you were walking into that church and you said on camera? What did you want? Because I remember, I don't know about you, but I'm old enough to remember a time when Don Lemon walking into the church, in fact, after that meeting in the parking lot and getting tipped off about what they were going to do is actually part of this whole thing. I remember him walking into the church saying, this is going to be, this is going to be sad and this is going to be hard, but this is sometimes this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do in order to make a difference. Do you remember that? It's traumatic. It's uncomfortable for people here, but that's what protesting is all about.
Watch this guy here. Look, he's hugging his kid. And, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. But again, careful. It's very slippery right here. Yeah. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please, really slippery. Not kidding. That's what protesting is about. And so, watch it.
Well, that's what finding out is all about. And so, these people, don't they think they're the victims? They think they're the ones that are being victimized. Unbelievable. I don't know what's going to happen. I've heard lots of different takes on what will happen with him. I've heard people say that I don't think he's going to do any time in jail at all. I've heard people say that he very well could. I think he'd take a plea deal. He probably won't do any time in jail. But just remember, again, what we're dealing with in all of this. And, a lot of we just got to give it to God. They do have to take the steps they've got to take. In one of the most insane moments of the day, you're going to see, this is, again, out of control. This is a white liberal in Minnesota walking up to a Hispanic man and knocking his coffee out of his hand because she thinks he's ICE. You see this guy right here? They knocked the coffee out of his hand. I'm going to try and mute it so we can play more of it without being an issue. Boom! That's his iced coffee, man. Look at him. He's this poor guy. He just walked sort of dejected to his car, got in the car. That's not ICE. It's just some random guy, Hispanic guy in Minnesota. What in the world? This is how crazy they are. They're detaining people and checking their license plates in Minnesota right now. That's another thing that's actually happening. This is the lunatic left on full display right now. And guess what? Here we have it. They're being bussed in.
People here, when in actuality, they're busting them in from other cities. See? Look, watch this. See?
Protesters bust into Massachusetts, I think this was, to do a protest and then bust out and paid, no less. What the American people think about this, what they really believe, how they really feel about all this. In fact, we got new polling out to suggest this. Trump administration has released it again. More new polling that shows American people agree. You're here illegally. You got to go home. Now, I'm not going to play all of this, but it's worth watching. It's nearly 10 minutes. Josh Howerton, who's a pastor, I've been watching a lot of this guy lately. I really like what he does. He is exposing, explaining that you are right smack dab in the middle of a propaganda war. And here's how you need to fight it. And here's what you need to know.
Now, listen, I'm about to waterboard you with this. If you do not believe you're in the middle of a propaganda war, I love you, and you can be as mad at me as you want. You're wrong. Okay? So listen, I'm going to rapid fire these. Here we go. Right here, number one. No, this is not a picture of an 8-year-old girl who died in ICE custody under the Trump administration's heartless dictatorship. It happened in 2023 as reported by the New York Times under the Biden administration, but now it's getting millions of views and being labeled as happening now. Number 2, no, this is not a photo of a 5-year-old put in a cage because of the current administration calls people illegal. Nope. Snopes reports after millions of views, it was discovered that was a photo taken at a protest staged in front of Dallas City Hall. The parents brought the kid to the protest. He was in the cage for about 30 seconds, and he cried because he couldn't figure out how to get out. Number 3, no. This is not a video of ICE agents, quote-unquote, drive-by macing people for no reason. That went mega viral. I watched the entire video myself. They were throwing things at law enforcement vehicles, and the guy maced the guy that was throwing things at law enforcement vehicles. Number 4, no, this is not a picture of a woman whose hand was shot off by ICE agents firing rounds at mourners, as was claimed, and it got millions of views. Nope, she was rioting and obstructing law enforcement, and as you can see right here, she picked up a flashbang before it detonated and injured her own hand, blew part of it off. Next one, no, this is not a picture of a 5-year-old boy arrested by ICE. As reported, the boy's father abandoned him while he was fleeing arrest. That is a picture of ICE agents following protocol and not leaving a 5-year-old alone in freezing weather out on the street. Next one. No, this is not a picture of a baby that was tear gassed by ICE while his parents were on their way to a basketball game. Go to that next picture. You can literally see in video that was uncovered later. His parents lied. They're on video at a violent protest, and they left their baby alone in a car for 45 minutes at a riot that they helped cause, and they forced tear gas to be deployed. Next one. This is not a picture of an innocent restaurant worker being arrested by heartless ICE agents. As you can see right here, it is a picture of an illegal child rapist who fled into a restaurant to avoid arrest and seems to have a knife in his hand, if you look closely.
There's 5 more minutes of this. I highly recommend you watch it and share it today. I'm going to put it up in the stack so you can see it and others can too. It's a great breakdown. He does a very good job. So now you know you're being propagandized, and we get it. So what happens next? How do you deal with it? His name's Josh Howerton Sherry. He's a pastor, and I've been following him probably for the last 6 months or so. Really interesting guy. And seems to be on the right side of a lot of things, at least everything that I've seen so far. But we'll continue to follow him, and I suggest you look him up too. But I'll put it in the stack today for you guys so you can go watch the video. JustinBarkley.com. It'll be up then. Hey, in the meantime, man, I can't wait to tell you. I think maybe tomorrow we'll have an update with my good friend Maha Missy and give you a story. Obviously, we got some brand new Maha updates for you, but I'm already down in the first week. I'm already through the first full week. Can't believe how much I've already dropped in this latest phase. I'm feeling so good. Got that energy. You want to do it too? Should join me. Making America Healthy Again starts right here in my home and yours. You can find out more at healthwithjustin.com. Go check out all the before and after photos, right? Find out all the other folks who have had great success too. Healthwithjustin.com. Do it today.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900.
Or go to goldwithjustin.com today.